I don't know. In some ways, I feel like I kind of missed out on this phase of exploration in dating men because it was just like assumed, from the day you're born. It's like you're a girl, you like boys. And so my attraction to men and like having crushes on men developed at such a young age that I don't even really remember my first crushes on boys anymore. Getting to fully immerse myself in crushes on women, this is really sweet that I get to remember all of this.
Dude, where are you? Pick up your phone. I'm going to a summer party tonight, and you're obviously invited, so call me back. Okay, love you. Bye.
Sometimes it feels crazy that my middle school selected screen name is going to follow me forever. Party like Maddie, baby. Let's go forever and always. I can't escape it. Not that I'm trying to, because I don't even really hate it. But it is one of those things that like every time I have to do anything and I have to give my email, there's something about it that's mortifying to me because every single time they like have a smirk that's on their face. And I'm like, even if I think it's cool, I know that they don't. And so I'm always just like, God damn it. I know you're giggling and cackling at me. I understand that like I am and always will be Party Like Maddie. But it's like now that screen names are obsolete and nobody knows people by their, I don't know, made up ats, it's like, it's even more humiliating because it's like, it feels like a dated concept to be like, oh, this is Party Like Maddie. It's a thing. I promise. I didn't just like make my email that. They're like, you really like partying? I'm like, well, no, it's not like that. It was more like a vibe. It was more like just a general aura and energy. And anyways, now it's with me forever. No, I'm just here. I actually don't hate it. I'm not hating. Okay? I actually thought that 13-year-old me ate that the fuck up. I thought it was a great screen name. But it is just funny that a decision I made when I was 13 is now a part of my life forever. Anyways, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to Emotionally Online, the weekly summer party for spilling guts and sharing secrets, hosted by yours truly, the one and only Party Like Maddie. Let's run it back. Everyone just start referring to me as Party Like Maddie again. And real ones, remember, Party Like Mondays. When I was like in high school and college, I used to have like a posting day on YouTube every Monday. It was every Party Like Monday. Everyone tweet the video, hashtag Party Like Monday. God, those are the days, you guys. What a life we have lived on the internet. I have not been on here, haven't talked to you guys since Spotify Wrapped came out. And I am pleased to announce that my predictions were pretty good, all things considered. My predictions, as a recap. Okay, let's talk about songs first. My song predictions that I did was I thought that my top 5 were going to be Von Dutch, Cowboy Gangster Politician, the Guess remix, Lunch, and Uncle Ace. Of those 5, I got 3 correct, which is pretty damn good. I felt good about that. And I will say the songs that did end up being in my top 5, I still said out loud during my deliberations. So, of course, I knew Von Dutch was going to be my most listened to. Got that correct. Cowboy Gangster Politician was my number 2 most listened to. Again, like I said, February was quite the month for me. I don't think I listened to anything other than Cowboy Gangster Politician during the month of February. Lunch, I got correct because I am a bisexual. And when Billy released Lunch, I was all over that. My Lunch was actually my number 5. Number 3 was the Von Dutch remix. Because I really, at the end of the day, I am a Von Dutch head. And like a Von Dutcher, a Von Dutch truther, whatever you want to call it, I am it. And it made total sense that the Von Dutch remix was on there. The fact that Addison Rae was in my Spotify Wrapped is like kind of crazy. But I'm also an Addison Rae truther. So you know what? It all checks out. And my number 4 most popular song of the year for me was Disease, which is crazy because that song just fucking came out and it somehow has surpassed every other song that I listened to throughout the entire year. But listen, that's the little monster in me, babes, okay? Gaga releases pop music, and I commit. I'm locked the fuck in. We're streaming on repeat. This is just what it needs to be. I need to have the lyrics burned into my brain, within 20 minutes of the song being released. I need to be with it. I need to be on top of it so that way I can enjoy to the fullest extent. And we really did. We really, truly did, to the point where it ended up on my Spotify Wrapped. So 3 out of 5 predictions were correct, but I did say these other ones out loud as guests. The ones that I was wrong about were the Guest Remix and Uncle Ace. Uncle Ace was my number 6 most listened to. So it was right there. I was so close. And Guess was top 10 as well, I believe. For artist predictions, I said that I thought it was going to be Charlie XCX, Lady Gaga, Carol Addis, Billie Eilish, and The Beaches. And I got 4 out of 5 correct here. And to be honest, I feel suspicious of the 5th one. My top artists were Charlie XCX, Lady Gaga, Carol Addis, Billie Eilish, and Sabrina Carpenter. Which, maybe. I'm not saying no. Like, maybe. I liked Espresso when it first came out. I listened to it a lot. But to be so honest with you, I didn't like her album. So I was like, really? Like, is that just off Espresso? Because, I also liked Taste a lot. It was Espresso and Taste that I really liked. Please, Please, Please. I definitely listened to quite a bit, but it wasn't my favorite. And then the album came out, and I'll be honest, most of the songs I don't really like. I'm sorry to all the Sabrina Carpenter fans out there. It just wasn't really for me. I don't know. I just didn't like the album as like a collection of songs. Some of them were great. Others I was bleh about. But my confusion of the album more came from like why they all fit together as a collection of songs. It just like didn't make sense to me. There was no cohesive vibe, in my opinion, to the music. So I didn't really like it as much. Good Graces, I literally fucking hate that song. It like is so, it's one of those pop songs that's like so catchy and I get annoyed that it's stuck in my head. Okay, shutting the fuck up about this, because all in all I do like Sabrina Carpenter, and it like makes sense because I loved Espresso and Taste. So like fine, she's in the top artist, even though I'm a little shocked about it. Whatever. Speaking of annoying fucking songs though, like top 5 most annoying songs of all fucking time, a new one has bust into the list for me. On my list before was like Cheerleader, that fucking song. That is probably number 1 most annoying song of all time to me. It is terrible. It is nails on a fucking chalkboard. Every time I hear it, rage pulses through my body. I can't fucking stand it. That song. Then the other one, Rude. Can I have you done it for the rest of my life? Say yes, cause I need to know. I fucking hate that song. Terrible. So bad. Nails on a chalkboard. Cheerleader. Oh, I think I'd find myself a cheerleader. That dumb fucking song and Rude were out at like the same time. That summer was a diabolical summer. I want to say it was the same summer that All About That Bass was out, which I also fucking hate that song. 2014 was a terrible time for music. I think that is when it came out. It's 2014, 2015. That era, when I was graduating high school, foul. Absolutely fucking foul. Nothing good happened those years. Like literally nothing at all. My take has always been that 2012 to like 2016, those years in between was a dead spot for culture. Like we flopped so hard. 2013, 2014, 2015. 2012 was great. 2016 was great. Those 3 years in the middle, full of flops, head to toe. Except for art pop. That was the one slay of those years. Art pop was the only thing that carried me through that time. Foul. But a new song has made it to this list of songs that are nails on a fucking chalkboard to me. And it's that godforsaken ah-pa-ta-pa-ta song. What? Who's responsible for this? Who wrote that song? Who put that arrangement together? Who the fuck is responsible for that? Because it's fucking terrible. And I actually am mad at any of you that like it. If any of you have listened to this and thought, oh, this is so good, let me put it on my playlist, I'm beefing with you now. Because what the fuck do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? And why is this song so popular? It sucks. It sucks. I hate it so much. Like, I feel passionately against this song. It is so bad. And the fact that, like, someone out there is like, this is my favorite song of the year. Apata, or whatever the fuck. I hate it. It actually makes me so mad. So mad. Okay? I'd rather listen to fucking Jules and Drugs. And that's saying a lot, okay? Because Our Pop is a perfect album, but what the fuck was that? You know? Oh my God. Anyways, that was my Spotify Wrapped. Passing grade for my predictions. Clearly I know myself. Thank you. Taking my respect and accolades and praise now. And I'll see you guys next year, I guess, for Spotify Wrapped 2025. The first piece of media that I consumed today was an article about the guy who killed the United Healthcare CEO, Luigi. An article about him and how he used to be a part of an Among Us group, right? He used to play this strange internet mafia killing game called Among Us, and it was all written in the stars. I read that and I was like, that's crazy. You know, all because he was like a part of some fucking group of boys that like to play video games, and they're fucking interviewing one of the guys that used to play in his Discord server. That's crazy. That is so crazy. And I was like, damn, he's an Among Us head. He's just like me for real. I was like, what the fuck? Why are we writing articles like this? He used to play Among Us. I'm like, do you even know what Among Us is? And I do prefer to say it like Among Us. It's just better. It's a better way of saying it. Among Us. Among Us. No. Among Us. The fungus Among Us. Anyways, that was really, truly funny to me. It is bizarre to me to see, like, as I'm recording this, he just got identified like less than 48 hours ago. And so it's been a whirlwind online, seeing all these like photos and like, you know, screenshots from his Spotify, Letterboxd, all this stuff come forward, and people are making all these jokes, yada yada. I know you've seen it. But the craziest part to me is how quickly former classmates were to go to the fucking news. Like, I just can't help but when I see like one of his high school classmates being interviewed by like news stations, doing pieces within like 24 hours of his name even being released, I'm like, that's kind of crazy, is it not? I find that to be a little weird. Like, I think that you are weird if you chose to do that. If you saw a former classmate in the news and you were like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go fucking talk to the news about this right now. Get my name heard. I got to take part in this conversation. Like, I think it's a little bizarre. Within 24 hours of learning that information, your first thought was like, put me on the mic. Get me in front of the people. And I just have to imagine, like, if I did something wild that ended me up on the news of any regard, and I'm on the news and people are talking about me, and somebody that was like the grade below me in the year 2011 all of a sudden was on the fucking news like, dude, I knew it all along. I'd be like, what the fuck? Why interview them? They don't even fucking know me. We just went to the same high school. We might have had one or two classes together, but like, what? What do you mean you didn't interview talking about me? I'd be like, that's bizarre. That is really weird. That is really weird that your gut instinct when seeing this was to be like, now's my time to shine. Get me on the news. But people really do that. And I just think it's so weird. It's so weird. I can't get over this. And this is a totally separate thought, but sort of connected to this whole idea of like ex-classmates coming forward and being like, and I knew them once. But I saw somebody, you know, those Facebook groups where it's like, are we dating the same man? I'm not a part of any groups like that because, to be honest with you, I think they're kind of stupid. I think the intended purpose of those kind of groups is good. I think it has good intentions. I just don't think that in practice it actually does the things that it's claiming to do. And here's one of the reasons why I don't think it does. But obviously these Facebook groups exist, like the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook groups, so that people can try to vet the guys that they're going on dates with for personal safety reasons, and also to try to like catch men who are serial cheaters, which is good and helpful, right? Because you don't want to date an asshole, someone that's abusive, a cheater, whatever. These things have like their intention is well-meaning, but I just think that in practice, in execution, I think that so rarely is the outcome of groups like this. And I think more often than not, it's just like an invasion of privacy and a way for people that don't actually know these people to chime in and say things. I bring this up because one time, one of my friends who's in these groups sent me a screenshot because somebody that we mutually knew was posted in this group. And then underneath the photo, we saw someone we went to high school with, like really co-signing him. But they made clear in their like initial comment that they were like, oh yeah, he was the year below me in school. He seems really nice. Awesome. And it's like, we graduated high school a decade ago, and you're vouching hardcore for this dude that you do not know in the present day, or even back then either. You just happen to go to the same high school, and you're going to go in this group with the intended purpose of like vetting these men and vouching for them, and you're gonna vouch for someone you barely fucking know. I'm like, he could be a loser for all you know. I don't know him, you don't know him. Like, we know of him, we went to the same high school, we graduated together, but like that was the extent of how much you knew him. So what are you doing? Like, I found it so embarrassing. I was like, you wouldn't catch me dead in one of those groups like being, oh my god, we went to high school together, seemed cool. Like, you wouldn't catch me there. I don't live there. I wouldn't defend nobody. I wouldn't vouch for nobody. I wouldn't recommend any of you people. I don't know you. I just don't know you. And I would hope you wouldn't recommend me either, because you don't know me. You know, there's just something about people stepping in to be the point person for discussion about high school classmates like a decade later that is so bizarre to me. Because I'm like, do you really know? Or did you just like sit next to them in math class in 2012 for one semester? And now you're like, and I should be on the news now. And I should be the savior in this Facebook group, when I could very well be giving bad advice right now because I don't fucking know them. You know? It just seems crazy. Anyways, Godspeed to all the people out there who play Among Us. Because that's really what it comes down to here, people. Okay? Get out there and go play a round of Among Us today. For me. And for those who cannot play Among Us anymore. Because they are going to prison. In other news, voting for the Lovergirls Awards, the inaugural 2024 Lovergirls Awards, is now live. I took a look through all of your nominations for the categories. I pulled the most common answers. Now we have voting available for your pleasure. If you want to make your voice heard, it is a quick multiple choice survey where you get to choose the winners of this year's Lovergirls Awards. It's going to be huge. It's going to be major. It's simply never been done before. And we will get to the bottom of where the best place to cry is. We will get to the bottom of the best release for yearning in 2024. We will get to the bottom of the most crushed on actor of the year. We will get to the bottom of the horniest movie. Okay? These are things that we will get to definitive answers on. So please make your voice fucking heard, because this is your last opportunity for it. And now after this, you're never going to have another chance to have an opinion ever again. So lock in. So lock in and get those votes in, because I am going to tally them up next Friday, and then the following Friday, which will be episode 99, and my final episode of the year will be the Lovergirls Awards, which means that my first episode of 2025 is going to be episode 100, which is kind of crazy, cuckoo bonks that we've been doing it for this long. But that's what happens when you're just a fucking beast. I want to start bringing back 2012 slang and words that we used to say back then. I've been saying that I wanted to bring back saying 2K. Like, we used to also or die at the end of every sentence. Those are the two things I wanted to be bringing back, because I feel like back then we used to caption all of our photos like 2K12 gang or die. You know, or it was like when you did like a theater show, you'd be like Grease 2K11 or die, and I'm like, that was awesome. Why did we stop doing that? I get that it reached a point where it just didn't sound as good. Like 2K10 was crazy, 2K11, 2K12. These all sounded awesome. And then we got to the teens and it was like, it just doesn't sound as good. 2K14, 2K13, 2K15, like, oh, it just fell off so hard. 2K15 sounds awful. But I feel like we can start bringing it back now. 2K24, 2K25. I'm in it completely. And also, I like the upping of the stakes by adding or die at the end of everything. It also makes it seem like so much more like a exclusive club, you know? Lover Girls Worldwide 2K24 or die. Like, yeah. No, we're committed. We've locked in here. It's like, I don't know. It just feels like a promise to me, or die. The state of New Hampshire really knows how to do it, because their state motto is live free or die. And it's like, period. You know? And I just feel like for a while we had adopted that way of speaking into our daily life and Instagram captions. And I think we should run it back. 2K24 or die. Anyways. Okay, I'm going to be a hater for a quick fucking second. I just need to talk about this because every time I see it, I'm like, it just hits at my personal frustrations around dating and singlehood and how people perceive all of it, and people's aversion to being single, which everyone knows I have an issue with. I have an issue with like the large aversion people have to singlehood, but more than anything, it pisses me off when people won't admit that that is the truth. Okay, I think if you have like an aversion to being single and you hate being single, you find yourself hopping from relationship to relationship because being single just sucks and it's hard for you, and you are aware of that. I respect that self-awareness so much more than people who pretend that that's not the case. And then they're like, I love being single. I love living my single life. I'm learning so much about myself. And they have a new relationship 2 months after they get out of the other one. Like, I would so much rather you just call it what it is. Just say you hate being single and you prefer being in relationships and you don't know how to be alone and you're just not good at it. So you find yourself hopping from relationship to the next. I would so much rather you just acknowledge that and be like, yeah, no, it's true. I do be doing that, than to be like, no, it's not like that at all. It just sends me when people are like, oh, I just broke up with my boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, end of the summer, August, let's say. And then they start posting on TikTok about how much they're learning being single and how much they love their singlehood and how they're like just enjoying this phase of life and not thinking about dating. And then all of a sudden this time of year comes around, people are making the like clickable dating wrapped content, and somebody's like, okay, so I've been dating from September to December and I've been on 32 dates. And I'm like, what do you mean? I thought that you were living your single fantasy. Now you tell me you've been on 32 dates? What the fuck are we talking, people? You wouldn't know single if it hit you in the fucking face. I hate to say this, you guys, but this is my thing. Like, I just want people to call it what it is. You don't like being single. Why do you keep trying to convince me that you do? I know that you don't. Oh my God. It's also just unfathomable to me. Like, this comes up all the time and I'm always so confused by it, because never in my life have I had feelings for someone that just went away to the point where I could date someone new that quickly. Never. And maybe this is just the lover girl separation of it all. You know what I mean? The lover girls of the world are the ones that like crush hard, yearn hard, love hard, and also heartbreak hard. And I've got to like process my own heartbreak, endings of things not working out. That's like a process in and of itself. And then once I've processed it, then I want to have time to myself where I'm not miserable and sad. You know what I mean? Like you go through the immediate aftermath of the first couple months where you're like sad about things not working out. And that's like something that I need to do by myself. But then there's a second part of it after that where it's like, well, now I just get to enjoy my solitude without having to think about filling the space with someone else. And that part to me also feels necessary. And then there's like the third part of it after the enjoyment part where then you start to be like open to dating again, and you might start to go on regular dates, put yourself out there on dating apps, in person, whatever, however it is that you choose to date or not date. And, you just become more open-minded to it. Because again, my like perspective on dating has changed so much in the last year. And I don't think that like actively dating, as in like forcing yourself to go on 32 dates in the span of 4 months, is worthwhile for everybody. I think some people like to like hammer out dates on dating apps and just book their schedule as much as they can, and they go for the like quantity metric more than anything, because it's like, well, something's gonna stick if you're going on this many dates. And I get it, because I also used to go on a lot of dates on dating apps, and now I'm like the opposite perspective, where I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like if somebody asks me right now if I'm actively dating, it's like, I mean, I guess the answer is no. Like I'm not hammering for fucking dates, but I am open-minded about it. And like if I meet someone, if we cross paths, then I'll entertain it. I'll see what happens. But I'm just not, I don't know when dating became this thing where you had to be like locked the fuck in doing it. Like dating was a job, and that's the only thing that means you're actively dating. Because I'm like, I'm actively dating, I guess. I'm not talking to anybody. I don't know. I don't know who I would talk to if I was going to talk to someone. But it's like, but I'm open-minded. Like I could meet someone tomorrow and be like, sure, why not? So it's like, yeah, I'm in a place where I can date. I feel emotionally ready to date right now. But because I'm not like hammering dates, that means I'm not actively dating. Anyways, I find that whole thing stupid. But anyways, I just think it's a little funny and a little annoying to me when people try to claim that they love being single and they're loving their single era. But they've never been single for more than 6 months, more than a year, more than 2 years, actually. I want to see you single for 3 years straight before I believe that you love it, babe. Like I don't believe some of you that say you love being single and you're like, oh, I love my single era, but then you have the next partner lined the fuck up within the same calendar year. Like I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And my call out here is only to say that I think we would benefit from drinking a little truth tea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that you don't like being single or that you're not good at it. It is a skill that you have to develop over time. And I get that I'm being a fucking hater. I get it. But my truth, my lived truth here is that I believe that we should all just be honest about these things, right? If you hate being single, if you're not good at being single because you won't allow yourself to get good at it, you won't allow yourself to sit in that discomfort and question why it is you've been conditioned to believe that your worth lies in whether or not you are loved by another person, particularly a man. You've never questioned that. You feel uncomfortable digging into it, so you just cover it up by jumping into another relationship. I wish that you would just say that instead of pretending that you love being single. You loved it for the month and a half that you were single, for the 6 months that you were single. You loved it so much. And that's the longest amount of time you've been single in your adult life. Like, I have criticisms. I do. And they're not for everybody. This doesn't apply to everybody, okay? I'm talking about a specific subset of people who are like relationship hoppers because they are avoiding doing internal work. These people stress me out so much. So much, okay? And obviously things happen sometimes, right? Sometimes you mourn or process the end of a relationship while you're still in the relationship, and you can be like totally ready to move on, and that's fine. And some people have met who they wanted to be with forever, super young, so they've never been single in their adult life because they've always been in this one relationship. That's fine, and it's different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are chronic relationship hoppers that love to try to convince people that they love being single during the month and a half in between each relationship. you are lying. And I'm done with this, okay? I'm like, I just think that people who are committed to doing the internal work and doing it alone and really indulging themselves in being single and exploring themselves as an individual without a partner, I believe that the people that have committed to doing that exploration deserve to have their flowers, okay, babe? And you didn't do it. So stop saying you're one of us. Because it actually, I'm like, no, but you don't get it. You were saying, oh, I cannot stand it. I cannot stand. I'm like, these people who were single for 6 months don't know a damn thing about being single forever. Okay. You wouldn't know a damn thing about this journey if it hit you in the face. And I would just love if you said that. If you said, I don't know a damn thing about that. Because I'd be like, true. Anyways, that's my hater ass reflection for the day. Rooted in truth, though. Rooted in truth, and that's why it hits. And that's why some of you are big mad right now. No, I'm kidding. Only lover girls listen to this podcast. You trying to tell me that you bitches, you listeners of this podcast, were able to move on from someone quickly? Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking right. I know a ton of people listen to this podcast that are lovers for life. And you might say you've moved on, but I know you haven't, bitch. I know you. I know you so well. So. Anyways, I say all of it with peace and love. With the most peace and love in the entire fucking universe. I just think some of you need to stop pretending that you understand the joys of singlehood when you don't. Okay? Leave it to the professionals. All right, let's do some audience submissions. Let's see what's going on in your lives this week. Hi, Maddie. I'm exploring my sexuality for the first time now, being 23, and I think I might be bisexual. I feel attracted to men, but I'm only sexually attracted to a woman if I am in love with her. I'm a bit confused and very excited to explore more. I was wondering what your dating experiences with women have been like. Thanks for your insight. Yeah, I feel like especially this year, I've had so many reflections on my attraction to women and how different it is, and also what kinds of insecurities are brought up in me during the process of dating women that haven't or didn't pop up with men. Or maybe they did pop up with men, but in a different way. And I feel like I've worked through those insecurities in relationship to men, but not in relationship to women. And it's kind of a beautiful thing to just discover more about yourself and to naturally run into more obstacles in the process. But I kind of just love that I'm changing and that I'm discovering more of how I feel and discovering how I want to show up in queer relationship dynamics, and also like how to put myself out there with women. I feel like I've just had more practice dating men. So I feel like I understand how to date men. I understand my relationship to men, how I feel in intimate relationships with them. And I don't yet understand all of what the dynamics of like queer romance look like for me. And maybe I discover that they're quite similar, but I feel like it's a totally different thing. I just feel like a queer relationship and a queer dynamic is so different to a straight one, and I'm still discovering like how to show up in a dynamic that feels so different and feels a lot more equal. And it's also like brought up some weird insecurities for me in relationship to my body, which this is like a very much like a work in progress thought. So take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But something that I've thought about a lot in relationship to dating women is like how I feel uncertain about how my size and like my visual appearance impacts my relationship dynamics in how I am able to feel like loved and protected. And I say this because I did used to have like similar fears with dating men, in feeling like, I don't know, that I would never feel cute or small or like sweet because of my size. But I think with men, a lot of that sort of melted away because I realized that most men are taller than me. I'm 5'3", so though I may weigh more than a lot of the men that I go out with, most of them, all of them, are taller than me just by default. Even if someone's 5'4", even a short guy is taller than me. So I feel like I've always gotten to feel like small and protected and taken care of in a very physical way because of my height in relationship to men, even though I have a larger body. And you might even be thinking, like, why do you want to feel cute and protected and like girlish? And I can't even really tell you why. I just feel like I've always wanted to feel that way. And maybe that is, I don't know if it's just a product of experiencing life in a plus size body and really like longing to feel, I don't know, just like cutesy and girlish and protected by someone. That's like a feeling that I've felt my whole life that I feel like is part of what I look for in a romantic partner, is like someone that can make me feel very protected and held and can sort of like bring down my guard a little bit, because I feel like I am very much someone that is like a carer. Like I am very protective of other people. I am someone who cares a lot for other people, and I need to be with someone who's able to like sort of get me to come down from like my protection mode and make me feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? I just feel like I spend a lot of my life being the like big person for other people, making other people feel like protected and cared for and thought of. And I just want someone else to make me feel that way. And in some ways, our like physical beings play a role in that. I don't know. And so with men, that's something that has always sort of sorted itself out naturally. But with women, a lot of them are the same size as me. And so there's some part of my brain that is like, feels like it's hard for me to know how I get to feel girlish in relationships with other women, because a lot of them are shorter than me, or at the very least the same height as me. And I feel like almost by default I would be like assuming the position of protector because I am physically bigger than them. But I don't want to be. I want to be like, I want someone else to be more, I don't know, protective and loving and dominant, dare I say, towards me. But I don't know, maybe this is just me like projecting a very heteronormative relationship dynamic onto a queer relationship and learning that it just is not like that at all whatsoever. I don't know. Some of these things I feel like I won't really come to terms with completely until I am in a relationship with a woman. But anyways, I feel like through having crushes on women and going out on dates with women, this is something that I've thought about a lot. And maybe I'm just overthinking it, but it is a recurring reflection of mine. It's like seeking this like protectiveness and safety within a person, and how my own physical body plays a role in finding that protection from people. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know if other plus size queer people have struggled with this, because it's something that I've thought about a lot, and I have a feeling that it might just be like a combination of heteronormative relationship dynamics and like internalized fat phobia that are sort of mixing together, and just like copy and pasting that onto queer relationships without realizing that it doesn't have to be like that, or that it can be completely different, and that what safety and protection and girlishness can look like within dynamics with other women that might be smaller than me might just look different. than how I have experienced it with men. I don't know. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot. But I bring that up just to say that I think that exploring your queer identity has so many layers to it. And there's like, yeah, there's the initial layers of like realizing that this is how you feel, and then grappling with what labels you want to use or not use, what resonates with you, what makes you feel the most seen and heard and represented and loved and all of that. And then there's like working through all the fears that you may have of committing to saying these things about yourself, feeling like you're not bisexual enough. And then you get to a place where you're sort of past all of that and you feel like you're comfortable talking about your bisexuality and comfortable going on dates with women, comfortable being more public about it. And then you discover that there's even more hurdles in like how you perceive yourself within queer relationships, how to find like safety and smallness and girlishness within relationships with non-men, because you're so used to dating men who have like a certain physical proximity to you. I don't know. A lot to think about. But the point of me saying that is just to say that I feel like my experience with my own queerness has been like really a joyful experience, even though a lot of it is like stressful, that I don't have the answers to all of these questions and that they're just like more insecurities or added hurdles inside my brain that I'm having to work through. And as much as it's a difficult thing, it's also a really wonderful thing to not have all the answers, but to be at a space in my life where I feel secure enough in myself to like allow myself to explore that, to give myself grace to not have all the answers, to know that there's no one right way to be bisexual, to show up as a queer person, and to also, I don't know, give myself grace in discovering how different queer relationships are going to be than my heterosexual relationships. And it's fine that I don't know everything about how it's going to look yet, or like how I can best show up, what it is that I need, and how it differs from my experience dating straight men. I don't know. I'm still learning. And I think it's okay if you're still learning too. And we don't need to have all of these answers right now. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to recognize that your experience dating men is different than your experience dating women. The way you feel about it is different. What you look for might be different. Where you get your satisfaction from could be different. And this is what I'm discovering. But the process of discovering those things and giving yourself the grace to move through it in a very fluid way, just accepting the exploration as it happens upon you, is a really beautiful thing. And I don't know, in some ways, I feel like I kind of missed out on this phase of exploration in dating men because it was just like assumed, you know, from the day you're born. It's like you're a girl, you like boys. And so my attraction to men and like having crushes on men developed at such a young age that I don't even really remember my first crushes on boys anymore. So it's kind of special to be an adult and get to go through the like initial phases of discovering your sexuality when you can remember all of it and get to like fully immerse yourself in these feelings. Getting to fully immerse myself in crushes on women, exploring that and being like, this is really sweet that I get to remember all of this. All of these questions, all of these, you know, moments of reckoning, they're mine, and I get to remember them and remember this journey to just becoming closer to myself. And that is really special and really awesome. And yeah, I guess for me, it's been a lot about learning how to love the journey to discovering myself and not necessarily just fixating on the final product of me, if that even exists. Hey Maddie, would love your 2 cents. I'm very similar to you in how I view friendship, and I've been lucky to have a small circle of close relationships in my life. One of my guy friends started dating someone a few years ago, and she and I became good friends. I would consider her part of my circle. but she's more extroverted, and I've never really known where I stood in terms of closeness on her end, which has been something I've never really known how to address. Recently, I got invited to her bachelorette party in a few months, and I was really excited, except I found out that of the 10 people going, I'm the only one that's not a bridesmaid. This made me really sad, and I've been trying to figure out why I care. Part of me wonders why I'm the only one that didn't get added to the bridal party, and part of me feels like a B-team bachelorette filler. How do I approach her about this without it seeming like I'm ungrateful to be invited? Should I self-select out of the bachelorette? So I just want to start by saying that it's completely normal to, when you're in a group of people and 9 of these people were given a title that you weren't. I think it's only human nature to want to impulsively question why it is that you weren't given that title, and if it's like a personal thing that you need to take in a deeper way. I think it's human to like our brains immediately jump to that, or to feel a little bit like, oh, well, why wasn't I good enough to have the bridesmaid title? Whatever. That's a very human reaction. With that said, I don't necessarily believe that this has to be as personal as your like immediate reaction might take it to be. Number one, and I think this is the most important thing worth remembering here, but if they're inviting you to their bachelorette party, it's because they love you and really want you to be there. The fact that they are inviting you to their celebration, they want you to be involved in these memories, that means that they love you and they want you there in those memories, in their brain, in the photos, in this time in their life, in this celebratory moment. They want you to be present. And that is meaningful. That in itself should be an indicator to you that this friend does value you in a similar way that you value them. I think that, what discretion people use when deciding who to call a bridesmaid and who not to is different from person to person, right? Some of it might just be like, you can only have so many people standing up next to you on your special day. And as much as I would like to have, every one of my girlfriends up on stage with me because I love all of them to bits and pieces, the reality is, like, if I'm going to get married tomorrow, let's say, I'm not going to have, 20 of my closest girlfriends up standing next to me. I'm probably going to have the people that I have known the longest and that I speak to the most on a regular basis. The people that are the most intertwined in my life and in my relationship. And it's no shade to the people that are not up there with me. It's more just like, there can only be a few people that are selected, and these are the ones that make the most sense based on our like current closeness and history that we share together. That doesn't mean that I love these people more than the people that weren't selected. It just means that at this stage in our lives, this is what makes sense. This is the choice that I made. And I think I would take this opportunity as more of like a door inwards to like a self-discovery moment that you're having right now. Your gut reaction was to, not know if you should take it personally or not, because you really love this person and they are like a high value friend to you, and you feel uncertain of where you stand in their life. I feel like your gut reaction to maybe take this more personally than it is comes from the fact that you don't know where you stand or how important your friendship is to them. Now, I think we can safely say that you are a very important person in their life because you were invited to the bachelorette. So I think we can start there and you can feel good about that. But I think it is totally normal to want validation from your friends from time to time, and to also have like a real moment of clarity within your friendships. So to me, this is less about the bachelorette or the title of being a bridesmaid, and more about learning that you want to be in it for the long run with this friend, that you really care about them, and you want them to know that they're one of your besties, and you want to know that you're one of their besties too. And so I am a big proponent of telling your friends how you fucking feel about them. And I have honestly, like, some of my best moments in friendship with people. And I talked about this in like the last episode as well, with that moment that I shared of like Ashley and I in high school, where I had like offered her feedback or criticism on something that had happened, and it was something that brought us a lot closer. But, and I don't know if I mentioned this part of it, but part of that conversation that I had with her in high school was like telling her that she was my best friend and that I loved her so much, and like that I was gonna be there for her in every phase of life, and that I was like locked in like that. And I remember Ashley telling me that that was a moment that was really special to her, because she always considered me her best friend, but didn't know if I considered her mine. So even though Ashley and I had been close since we were like little, having this conversation when we got older, when we both like vocally made certain to the other person how much it was that we cared, was special. And I think this is a moment that I've had in multiple friendships now that I'm older. You know, you meet someone, you become friends with them, you spend time together over the course of months, years, whatever it is. And I feel like you reach like a turning point in the friendship where you want to say more openly, like, just so you know, you mean like so much to me. Like, you've had such a profound impact on me. When I think of like who I want around during my big moments, you're also there for me. And like, I think it's always a great time to tell people that, and to have this moment of increased closeness when you're like, just so you know, like, you are different to me. My love for you, my love for this friendship is on a different level. Like earlier this year, I was talking to one of my friends about how I was talking to my therapist about, you know, my friends in New York and who I've loved spending time with over the last year. And I told this person about how I had talked to my therapist a bunch about like how much I valued my friendship with them, and how like through these conversations, it just really made me realize that I wanted to pour into our friendship even more, and to spend more time with each other. And that to me was just like a nice way to remind this friend of how important they are to me, and to verify to them that like I really value their companionship. And yeah, they've just like had a profound impact on me. And I think when we're open and vulnerable about how much other people mean to us, it opens the door for them to be vulnerable in similar ways. And so reading your submission, it feels less about the Bachelorette and less about the bridesmaid title, because at the end of the day, bridesmaid is just a title. It's just like who's standing up next to them, you know, at the altar, if they're even doing that. They might not even be doing it like that. But whether or not you have that title of bridesmaid is sort of neither here nor there. And so, honestly, I wouldn't criticize her or call her out for not adding you as a bridesmaid, because to be honest with you, she doesn't have to. And it's just a title. And I just sort of think that's a non-issue, right? The thing that matters here is that this person means a lot to you, and you want to make that known, and you are seeking more like security within your friendship with them. You want to know how much you mean to them. And I just think that we can seek out that affirmation and that comfort and that support and that closeness in a more direct way, because it's not really about the Bachelorette or about the bridesmaid title at all. And I almost think that making it about that takes away from the actual learning, which is just that you love them and want to be closer to them. And also, I think that sometimes things like that just aren't going to land, because weddings are super stressful. And at the end of the day, it's their wedding. They get to choose who's a part of it and who's not. They get to choose who's on the invite list and who's not, who's invited to the bachelor party, bachelorette party, whatever. That is their choice. That's totally up to them. And I'm more of the belief that we should just respect those decisions and respect those choices. And this is just supposed to be a happy, joyful time for them, for the couple, to just celebrate their love and include people. And I think that it would probably mean something to them to not feel like nitpicked or criticized for who they're including and who they're not including. Because I'm sure with most weddings, people are going to get criticized by several people throughout the process of planning it. You know, people not loving that they weren't invited to this or that their kids aren't allowed to come. There might be other people in their lives that weren't invited to the bachelorette at all that might get butthurt about that. And I think that at some point, instead of being like, this is a problem that I need to bring to them and they need to rectify it in some way, you just need to take the larger learning and act on that instead. Because it's not about the bachelorette and it's not about the bridesmaid title. It's about you loving this person, wanting to be closer to them, and wanting that same like validation that they care from them. And I think we can seek that out and offer up ourselves in a vulnerable way without, making it that it's a problem that they didn't make you a bridesmaid, because they didn't have to make you a bridesmaid. And I don't really think that that's the conflict. And I think that making that the conflict almost takes away from how sweet this moment actually is, which is just that you love your friend and you want to know that you're loved in return. And that's totally normal and very sweet. So I personally would not make it about the wedding at all. I wouldn't even bring up the fact that you're not a bridesmaid and everybody else is. I would go and enjoy this bachelorette, celebrate your friend, make them feel so loved up on, and have a conversation with them at some point, letting them know like exactly how important the friendship is to you, and just having more of like an open dialogue about wanting to be closer, put in more effort, spend more time together, whatever it is. I think that vulnerability is often rewarded, and it's clear that they do love you because they want you a part of, a moment that they're going to remember forever. So I wouldn't worry about them not loving you the same way that you love them. I feel like sometimes it just takes an additional conversation to like really affirm to each other that you care and that you see each other in your lives in a long-term way. Because like I said, Ashley and I were friends for years and years and years before we had the conversation. We were both like, you're my best friend. You know that? Like, you are number one for me. You're in that number one spot. And I need you to know that. Not saying that this person is your best friend, but you get the sentiment of like affirming to someone how much they mean to you, and like having that moment where you actually say it out loud. Even if you're close for years, sometimes you need to actually say it for it to hit and for your friendship to be taken to the next level because of that. But all in all, in general, I don't think that wedding party invites or non-invites are something to take personally. I think that's something that we just sort of have to accept and move on, because there's part of me that just, I don't think that it's right to make the couple feel criticized or nitpicked for how they want to spend their day or the people they want to surround themselves with during the day, especially knowing this person's very extroverted. They have a lot of friends. They have a lot of people in their lives that love them. Like, we just can't please everybody. And I think that like the bride and groom have to make the decisions that they want to make. They have made those decisions. We have to respect them. And I would just use this as like a learning moment for you in how you wish to proceed moving forward in your relationship. You might feel like you needed the bridesmaid title to have that like affirmation of how important your friendship was to them, but I actually don't think that you do. I think that you can get that affirmation from them in a totally different way that is more like productive and helpful to your friendship in the long term, big picture, So I wouldn't take the bridal party stuff personally. I think it's largely not personal. And those are just decisions that have to be made when it comes to a wedding. And I think it's best just to respect those decisions and sort of sort through any feeling that might be coming up for you as a result of that privately. Because ultimately they don't have to include you in the bridal party. And I don't think they should be made to feel bad for that at all. And I think that you bringing it up as like a call out or opting out of the bachelorette would make it feel like they did something wrong when they didn't. And I think this should just be a time about celebrating. And what an awesome thing that you get to share together. And you get to show up for your friend. And it's going to be hugely awesome. So enjoy yourself and be a little vulnerable in sharing just how much this person means to you. I think you might be delighted to find out that you also mean a lot to them. And maybe you guys just had to vocalize it to each other to really, feel more secure in your friendship. I cannot believe how dark it gets so soon now. Like, it's just bananas to me. Anyways, I'm going to end every episode saying that from now on. Like, every time I film, the sun is going down, and then by the time I get to the end of the episode, it's just pitch black outside, and it's like 5:30. I'm like, it's the middle of the day still. What the heck? Oy. Remember to get your votes in for the 2024 Lover Girls Awards. Make your voice heard. This is so important, you guys. Again, we really need to come to a joint conclusion on what the horniest movie of the year was. We can't possibly have any clues as to what my vote was. As you're listening to this, I am watching the votes come in. I am tallying them up, and it is getting crazy in here, folks. So get those votes in. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in next week's episode. See ya.